Nice.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are here for a very, very special event today, which is Startup 20X. So, under the aegis of Startup 20, Startup Policy Forum called Startup 20X has been conceptualized to democratize the basis of startups and startup ecosystems around the world to have a say in the global startup policy making. This forum will provide a platform to startups to voice their stories and talk about the work they have done on ground. So today we have some wonderful speakers and startup founders who will talk about their story, their journey, and the impact creation on ground by them. The first speaker today is Arpita Kalanuria. Arpita is an alumni of IIM Bangalore and founder and director of Unplugged Packaging and Systems. She is a recipient of Mighty NASSCOM Women Entrepreneur Award of 2020-2021. She is a senior fellow at Indian Institute of Sustainable Development. She is also a panel member for Panel for Circular Economy under Bureau of Indian Standards. Unplugged works in circular economy, sustainable packaging, sustainable lifestyles, and Vedic roots of sustainability. We welcome you with a warm, warm applause, Arpita, and requesting you to share your story.
Hello everyone. Today, I think the introduction has already happened, so I will get just right to it. That's Ample Earth Packaging and Systems. We focus on circular economy. At Ample Pack, we focus on manufacturing sustainable packaging products, smart packaging for your fast-moving consumer goods. And India Reuse is our call to action for consumers to reuse packaging and not opt for single-use packaging. So we started with realizing that the problem of plastic waste in today's world is quite huge. I don't think that needs to be explained with the landfills that we all see, and the way that the personal waste that we generate. I think we're all very conscious of it nowadays. But my problem was when I learned about microplastics. Apart from generating 30 lakh tons of plastic waste as a nation last year, and although we are recycling, at the highest rates at 40% recycling rates, there's still a huge problem. And the problem is the smallest one. The smallest problem is the microplastics that leach into our oceans, into our food chains, into our human bodies, into animals, marine life, and even into the soil. So this contamination of the entire ecosystem through microplastics, and that too because not only are we using plastic in packaging products like your all of your FMCG products, everything that you see in a grocery store is packaged in plastic. That leaches microplastics into the ecosystem. But also in terms of materials that we use, we wear petroleum-based products, clothes that are made out of petroleum-based fabrics. That leaches microplastics into the ocean too. And this is extremely harmful to the environment. So when I actually learned about this back in 2013, 14, I was in a state of shock. I didn't know what I should do. I knew that I needed to create a change in my lifestyle. I knew that I had to move away from using plastics. So as a family, we made a decision that we're going to switch from plastics and we're going to start finding ways of how to eliminate packaging in our daily lifestyles. So we actually I tied up with a farmer group around Mumbai who would come to Mumbai once a week. I made a friend circle and we made sure that we buy all of our grains, our oils, fruits, vegetables, etc. from this farmer group. And this was completely done packaged. We can move to the next slide. Not this one. The one before this. Okay, anyway, so we packaged our products, with the farmer group, all of your home utility products, your kitchen products in fabrics, reusable fabric bags, in steel containers, in glass bottles. So we got all our material, but still this was only 70% of the material, the waste that we were reducing. So what we were wondering what we should do about the rest of the 30% products that we are probably buying, shampoos, conditioners, and other products that you buy from a grocery store. So that had to be tackled with. That's when I started the idea. I started designing. I got somebody from IIT Bombay on board. We started designing products in metals. I wanted to use a material that was permanent, that was infinitely recyclable, not something that you manufacture once and then you recycle again, and that uses a lot of energy, right? So we wanted to work with materials that are infinitely, firstly, reusable, and once it goes to waste, they're infinitely recyclable. So we stuck to metals, with this, notion that this is the material that we want to use for large mainstream packaging. And while we started designing this product, packaging products for shampoos, etc., in metal, we realized that just designing the packaging is not going to be enough. We will need to design the entire circular economy ecosystem. Now, what is circular economy? Circular economy is basically material efficiency in products. So whatever material we use for manufacturing or for other products, the use should be multiple times, or you should have multiple life cycle uses of that product. So a product alone, a packaging product alone could not solve the problem. We had to then move to supply chains, because when you manufacture a product and you want to use it multiple times, it needs to have a closed loop supply chain for it to come back to you. So then I hired a team specializing in all of these 4 areas that build a circular economy ecosystem for packaging. So first was the products, which I was taking care of in terms of manufacturing design. Then we had a supply chain specialist who came on board and closed the entire loop of this system for us, because we needed to make sure the containers come back to us. Now, once the containers came back to us, of course, it was important that we refurbish them. So we sterilized them, pharma grade sterilization, and make sure that it is reusable for up to 100 times. So the service came into the picture, because we were working with a lot of brands that wanted to opt for this packaging but did not want to take the onus of cleaning these containers and making sure that they are reused many times. So we said, okay, we'll do that as well. And to actually close the entire loop, we decided that we should build our own technology. There was technology available in the market, but nothing that would really serve our purpose. So we had to do that from scratch as well. So we basically built the 4 pillars of circular economy. That's products, the service, the systems, and the technology. Now, what happens when you put all of this together is you have a system that is leak-proof. You have a closed-loop ecosystem where your products, after end of life, are coming back, and with little energy consumption are getting back into the use cycle multiple times. What was the call to action? Why did I pick something like this? It was very it started out with, I think, becoming a mother in 2013. Your whole perception of things change. You start thinking of what are we doing for the generations to come? Are we going to leave the planet in this way? How did we get how did the previous generations do it? Really, were they living a lifestyle like us? And are we really going to hand this down? So through that, the journey into the Vedic history of India, and the literature, and understanding what were we really doing thousands of years ago, and this constant thought would keep coming into my head that when we dig up the previous generations, we always find that there are temples, there's architecture, there's jewelry, there's tools, there's things that lasted for thousands of years, and it's all things of beauty. But when the next generation digs us up, they're going to find us in mounds of plastic and a cell phone in hand. So that's the thought that would keep coming back to me, and I said I have to do something about it. So I actually started with just designing a product, ended up creating a company, and within the company as well, we had lots of struggles. We started right before the pandemic. Obviously, nobody knew it was coming. We started designing products for multiple, like beverages, dairy, colas, bottled water, etc. And we, for some reason, we were really attracted to the hospitality sector. So we actually worked with the top hospitality companies that are there in India, your top hotels, and we were replacing their shampoo, conditioner containers in the hotel rooms with our metal-based dispensers and reuse systems. And just when we were, ready for our launch, pandemic hit, and the whole world slowed down. That was our greatest challenge because we had a whole product line ready for launch, and we had to just sit tight because hospitality was hit the hardest. So all the hotels were shut for a long period of time, and there was no recovery seen in the near future. So we had a few slow months, and we said, okay, we have to pivot now to a product that will not be disrupted by supply chains. So we said, okay, dairy is a good option because sabke gharon mein, milk was arriving, come what may, whichever place we were staying in. So we moved to the dairy sector. We worked with a few small dairy companies in Bhubaneswar, in Mumbai, and these dairy companies were supplying dairy in your plastic pouches, plastic bottles, even glass bottles. Now, glass bottles, the problem was that there was a lot of breakage, so their costs were really coming up high. So we designed a system for them to supply the milk in our containers, in our smart containers, and that way there was, again, absolute elimination of waste in the entire supply chain cycle. From there, we'll move to the next slide. Just last week, we launched our product for water with a combination of a local, brand that is doing mobile water ATMs, and we combine that with our containers. Where actually, in these few areas, please go check us out at Qutub Minar, Hausa, Sarojini Market, Akshardham, and we'll be working in several areas in Delhi and expanding this to Mumbai as well. The idea was to provide a solution for consumers to have safe drinking water, but many times they're not carrying their own containers. So it's combined with our container. So for a really nominal, affordable price, you get the container. It's a smart container. You scan it. It dispenses. You get a free 10 liters of water along with the container. So that really, and at any point in the city, you can go and you can refill water at a nominal cost. So this is something that we're really excited about because we're looking at tourist locations and even high density areas, and to solve the problem of single-use plastic. Because whenever you go out, I'm sure all of us have done that, bought a plastic bottle of water. So that is something that we wanted to avoid. And there were many moments that were very hard. It's not always a rosy story running a startup. So there were times when we were, running around the country trying to convince our customers. There were times that we were running short of funds. But of course, it has always been, supplemented by the fact that we've had great support from our incubators, from our accelerators, from government policies, from government opportunities, as well as our families who stuck together with us in this roller coaster journey. And whenever we actually felt low, we would wonder, why are we doing all of this? What is it? Why are we stuck to this? The entire team. And the idea was that, okay, we're doing something good here. We're doing something that is really good for the environment, not only for the country, but this can be implemented, across the globe. And that was the idea and the thought behind, sticking to this for the last 3 to 4 years. And coming back to the main inspiration, when you look at all the terms that you see floating around in sustainability today across the globe, all of it has relevance and their source in our Vedic texts, right? So when I started reading into the Vedic texts and everything, I realized that everything begins here. What we did thousands of years ago is being, that is something that we're aiming for today. So definitely, don't give up on your dreams. Be passionate and be focused. And after 10 years, you will be an overnight success. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arpita, for looking out and then acting upon to build environment sustainability. So next we have Advait Kumar and Jatin Dogra. Advait is from Boom, who's also the founder of Boom, earlier known as Swajal, a water tech impact startup. So the USP of Boom has been that they use technology and innovation to challenge the status quo of water and make it sustainable. So let's hear it from Advait.
Thank you so much. And it's very hard to follow up with Arpita because I think she has covered everything. It's such an amazing journey, and it's important to remember your roots and what you're doing while doing. So first of all, congratulations to all of you. I've heard that all of you are also, or some of you are also joining on this journey. So congratulations on that. So let me give a bit brief background about myself. I actually studied in the US. I studied in Penn State University. I did electrical engineering, and then I did economics as well, and then actually ended up becoming an investment banker at JP Morgan. And I was there for I think 8 or 9 years, and I don't know, maybe I had maybe the Swadesh movement or something. I don't know what went through my mind. I enrolled at an MBA at Chicago booth, and I dropped out and I came back to India and decided to work on this. Don't ask me why I did that. I still don't have an answer, but I don't have regrets. I'm very happy to be back, especially I don't have any regrets, but I don't know why I did that. So anyway, these are just some things that just make sense. So so that's a brief version of my journey, and let me take you through a journey of quickly about water. How did we come to this stage? Next slide, please. So water actually, as Indians especially, we have a very intimate relationship with water. All of us have, we have some water body nearby in our house, or we have had filters at our homes. But how did we come to this state of water? So actually, I've taken this example of this city near Geneva called Evian-les-Bains. I'm definitely pronouncing it wrong. But what happened was that it was famous for its therapeutic properties. Like we have some spring waters here in India, and what people would do, they would bottle it and take it and sell it, and that is how actually packaged drinking water was invented. And of course, this company became Evian, as owned by Danone. And here's the crazy part: is that nobody would actually buy water. Water is free. Why should I buy water? So what they did was actually put on some nice, interesting ads. They were marketing it for kids. They said, okay, you don't want water for yourself, but kids, they are very sensitive. You should have safe water. And so basically, the whole concept of packaged water came from that. And they were actually using glass water bottles. And then what happened was we had the invention of plastic. And suddenly we had something that was so convenient. It's cheap. It's easy to carry. It is you can't break it, and it was everywhere. It wasn't just Evian. Every single company was using packaged drinking water. Next slide, please. So I think it's quite well established. You all probably agree with this plastic is bad for the environment. And what it does is it's also the carbon emissions involved in transporting the water to you, and then the carbon emissions involved in when you throw the plastic out, and of course other things. So I think that is quite well established. But I think there's something that you may or may have not heard of. It's called something called as microplastics. That is plastic that gets dissolved in water when the plastic bottle is especially subjected to UV light. So if you're transporting the bottle, it starts breaking in. And if you can put next slide, I think you might have something there. So it dissolves in, and this actually becomes a problem. Can you guys, I think I've written the answer there, but can you guys guess how much plastic are we consuming? Don't read. It's see, this was my supposed moment. I was going to take this out and say it's 1 credit card worth of plastic every single week. But the answer is given away. But so that's a lot. Imagine 3.5 grams of plastic. This is a research study that says that that's an average. I think in India we probably consume a lot lesser because we still probably don't have that much in our ecosystem. And it's quite bad. It's bad to the extent that even they found microplastic in mother's milk. They found microplastic in, of course, seed. It doesn't come just from the water bottles. it also comes from the clothes. So, our clothes are made out of plastic nowadays, so we wash it, it goes down the drain, it goes into the ecosystem, and that is a big problem. Next slide, please. So the question that we really want to ask ourselves is, have you guys heard of asbestos being used as building material? Maybe it's long before our time. So in early 20th century, they would say asbestos is the best material. It's fire resistant, it's insulating, and they were using it everywhere, and then they suddenly found out it is giving cancer, right? And the same thing with cigarettes. It's almost comical how they were saying that cigarettes are good for your throat. That's how doctors were actually saying that. That have cigarettes. I think we put up again a vintage ad there. The doctors are prescribing cigarettes. How you have that oral weed prescribed by doctors or something. I think we had this cigarettes prescribed by doctors. Excuse me. So these are some of the things that we were using because they were such amazing materials. Not cigarettes, but I guess they were giving you amazing benefits. But asbestos was such an amazing material, we were using it that we didn't think what would happen with it. Now, microplastic is something similar, and plastic is something similar. So we know it is hurting the environment. We know that we are, doing carbon emissions. But what is it doing to us? When I drink water from a plastic bottle, or when I eat food on a plastic plate, what are the long-term implications? And the reality is there's not enough research yet that we can conclusively say that this is what is causing the problem. And that is interesting to me because this could be one of the things that maybe our grandchildren, they think, oh my God, they used to drink water from plastic. This could be one of those things, early indicators point to it. But we have to be mindful of this. Next slide, please. So, going to net zero is very important. It's not just about removing the plastic, it's also about the carbon emissions involved in the water. And while I was just thinking about it, we have to, as entrepreneurs, we have to just, this is what we have to do. We have to find opportunities. We have to find gaps. What can we do? How can we get to where we think the ideal version of future is? As a matter of fact, when I was writing this small presentation, I was thinking what to do. And what I did? I went to ChatGPT and I typed in write a presentation about. I literally did that. And to my surprise, it actually gave an amazing. I mean, you have to, as entrepreneurs, you have to do anything. So again, this net zero. The thing is, for example, this is the goal, right? And you just heard from Arpita, she has gone in the same goal, but in an amazing way. And we were just discussing how if we have to have so many people coming into this, otherwise it's just not possible. One person can't solve this thing. But it's not just this; it could be anything. I'm just giving this as an example because this is my industry. Okay. Next slide, please. So I now come to our story. So we talked about plastic. So what we did was we invented water ATMs. Have you guys heard of microgrids? Anyone? Microgrids? Microgrids, they were all the rage back in early 2000s, late 2000s. So you have grid, right? Grid is very expensive to build. You have to have the discom come in and make a grid. And what happens is that getting a grid to a village could be hard. So people said, you know what? Can we make a small microgrid for just that community or just that village? And we could connect it with solar, we could connect it with wind, but it is only for a small area. And what we thought to ourselves is, hey, listen, can we do that with water? Can we, instead of building a large distribution network, large water treatment plant, can we have a small distributed system that you can use to give water? And that's how we came up with the idea of water ATM, which is a community water system, right? Now, next slide, please. So as we were building it, we were going through a lot of problems because I know it sounds unreal. I feel really old saying this, but there was a time when internet was very expensive, and getting IoT and all of that was not possible. So what we had to do, we had to actually build our own thing. Now we have AWS, Azure. I'm sure all of you guys will be using it very soon. At that time, we had nothing. And this is not too far away. I think this is what 2015, 16? It looks very, very far away. But this is before Geo came in and made things so much nicer for us all. But at that time, what we did was we started making these systems, and we said, okay, maybe it will, as we are having all of these systems across India, like how do we make sure that the water is good, and how do we make sure that the machines are up? Because if the machines go down, then our revenues go down. So we actually built our own IoT platform back before it was like all the rage and all, the hot word, the keyword, and we call it we call it the clairvoyant, but I call it the frugal IoT because it would just communicate via SMS. And so as we are doing that, next slide please. So we have some pictures of our water ATM. So we actually were doing this back in 2013-14. We had this concept of BYOB, bring your own bottle, empty bottle by the way, not filled, at Swajal, and just fill it and take. So this is some of the pictures from railway stations. And what happened was that I was at one of these railway stations, and I saw somebody come in with a plastic bottle and fill the water bottle. And I realized that that's an old 2-liter Coke bottle that this person has probably used so many times that it is now, it was like a little bit all scratched up, so it was like whitish. So what I realized was that, this segment we are working with, we are calling these guys BYOB, but actually they are not the ones who are doing plastic pollution. And just across this street, I think you can see on the right hand side, there's also a store. And on the store, you can go and buy I will not name names, but you can go and buy packaged water. And then what happens is you take a few sips, you can throw it away, right? And this transformation has happened in front of us. I remember there were weddings when we used to have that 20-liter campers, and then we had that lid, you open the lid and then drink it. And now we have those tiny things, right? Those tiny bottles. I wish we had some here so I could. But the point is that what we do is we take a sip and throw it away. So I realized that we have this perfect solution that we are using for masses, which would actually work a lot with top tier because they are the ones who are having all this plastic wastage. So what we did was we said, okay, let's go to the top tier. So we went to very, very large hotels. We went to JW, we went to Ritz. Next slide, please. And what we did was we turned our water ATM into a simple machine that you put in. It washes, it sterilizes, fills the water, and then comes away. And when we started it in 2019, I think there was no hotel who was doing this. And now every single, not even one hotel chain, a major hotel chain, every single major hotel chain is switching to glass bottles. Why? Because of this concept that we were working with masses, we were able to make it affordable. So now the thing is that our glass water bottles actually cost cheaper than plastic bottle. And since they are in the premises, there is no water transportation, no carbon emissions, no plastic, and it is reused and recirculated. We are already working with 150 plus hotels in India. You can, almost any hotel you go to, from Oberoi's to Hilton's, IHG, Radisson's, all of them are working with us. And that's been a fantastic achievement. So we're doing something around 100,000 bottles every day right now. Next slide, please. And then we thought, have you seen those 20-liter jars? You can see the one right here. Thanks. We have a prop here now for them. So the 20-liter jars, I was like, listen, they sometimes they look all scratched up again. They are being reused. A lot of time, where is it coming from? Is it purified? Is it not? And we said, what? Why again with net zero? Let's have a system in which you use your own office's water, just purify it, and you can give it. So we came up with this solution. And again, we targeted only the top tier thing. It's not as if we want to do top tier, but because we thought we'll have a horizon effect. So we were working with Deloitte, we are working with BCG, we are working with EY. So we are working with some very large companies. I will not mention names, but there is a company over there that also does packaged water. They take water from us. So, I will not again say names. Some celebrity weddings. Yesterday, they take water from us. Right? So that's what we do. But we provide it sustainably, right? Next slide, please. So the reason. Okay, so that was the last. So we can go back to that. We have something we should see. So basically, what I wanted to show was like a quick journey. How this is very interesting because we started from the masses, but that allowed us to be able to displace plastic and all that from the top, because ultimately India is a very cost sensitive, right? And so we are doing something like I think 100,000 plastic bottles, 1 lakh plastic bottles daily, something around 40,000 predator jars daily, and we are able to do all of this. We are impacting about 1 million people lives. So we are able to do that only because of technology we developed for that, but able to use here. But that doesn't mean we're still not doing the other side. So today you can go to a railway station, or you can go to an airport lounge. You can go to a village panchayat, or you can go to a 5-star hotel. The amazing part is that the water is actually, if we are providing the water there, it's same machine in a different body, that we are able to do it only because the technology we have developed, it can transcend different use cases, different economic classes, and different things. So yeah, that was a quick thing that I had. I think so. Thank you very much.
So as we all know, there is no life without water, and at this time it's really fulfilling to see startups like Boon working to make water sustainable. So a big thank you to both our speakers today at the StartUp-20X event. With this, we conclude the event. Keep innovating, keep inspiring. Thank you.